Hello and welcome to Supreme Commander Forge Alliance Forever. We are in the semi-finals, the second semi-finals of our coverage, and this is part 2 of the semi-final. The score is what you all need to know, and currently it's 2-0 to this man over here on the right, Turbo2. With 2 games in hand, it's a best of 5, meaning Tagada cannot lose another game, or he's going into third place playoff and not reaching the final of the Fall Invitational, hosted and sponsored largely by Swackle, with some nice donations from some other people. Can go to the forums to see the details there. I believe there may have been an anonymous donation. There's some from a few other people. I believe Reese donated some, a viewer of the channel. So let's see the openings. Obviously looking identical so far. Both players using all their original resources that their ACU comes equipped with, packed to capacity. That guy there with res and to construct the initial base. So there we go. The first, you see a factory. The initial build power assists the commander to empty his initial reserves, and then we move to the, well, we make the hydrocarbon, some P-gens, of course the mechs before that, and then we see the players make use of the extensive reclaim that is in their starting spawn and is mirrored around the map. That's a lot of reclaim, heading towards 200,000. That 176 is not a complete picture of how much reclaim we have because there's small rocks in here, which are not included in that total because they don't have labels, because they're not, don't give enough mass, but they do give some. So we must be in around 200k mass. Opening wise, very similar. We got a couple of land factories and an air factory. The land factory is going to be producing basically just engineers. We're not going to see early tanks. I think labs are an option, but players preferring not to go for them. They're going to take a long time to get across the map. So maybe, well, maybe they're just taking the safer option, we'll say, the more economic, macro focused play, which I cannot blame them for. There's plenty of other opportunities to do damage. Labs and early tanks are not the primary option people go for here. It's usually the air offense that people are focused on. There's the initial builds. Copy them at your own risk. I endorse no builds covered on the channel, although they are all generally better than mine. Okay, we got faster transport by far for Turbo. This is a huge difference here. It has, oh, it has been found. I was checking this. Wait, oh no, Tagada messed up there. He had an opportunity to lock the transport, failed to, and also lost an inti for free because his inti had been locked already by Turbos. Excellent opening for Turbo. I mean, looking at his resources, we can see he suffered a little bit by putting so many engineers on his transport. He filled it up to capacity, 6 engineers, which meant, you know, less base building early on, less mass collected via reclaim, and less power production. So the base is looking stronger for Tagada. His transport is later, but only a few seconds, I would say. Well, maybe 15 seconds slower. Certainly enough to make a difference. He drops, okay, interesting. He drops 3 in this position, and then he's dropping backwards Not the approach I like to see. I like to see forward drops, but we can see there's a big risk to doing so. Maybe Tagada has the right idea here. His 3 engineers, though, have not been split, and there's a bomber heading straight forward, and the second bomber also moving to the south side of the map. And these engineers are clumping up a lot. Here comes the bomber. Now they're moving. This may auto dodge. Oh my! No, not quite. The bomber spread its bomb so extremely well there, and killed 2, and damaged the 3rd. Oh no! No! Oh my god! What a start for Turbo. 5 of the 6 engineers killed. 5 of the 6 engineers that were dropped were killed by that bomber. Second bomber coming in now. No inti in sight. These 3 intis were dispatched to kill the bomber. They now return towards this guy. The engineer's dodging. Will he succeed? Oh my god, the UAF bomber wants a meme. Now, no longer. So close to getting the kill there. 9 HP, the engineer survives. That is big. ACU heading to that position as well now to assist in the base building. Tagada clearly focused on the bottom side, dropping there again. 6 engineers on board this transport. The top side looks fantastic right now for Turbo in terms of just having multiple bases set up on the top side. The reclaim seems to be lacking. The economy development seems to be really lacking, to be honest. It's very slow expansion forward for him. Wow, extremely slow to the bottom corner as well. Definitely should have sent some engineers walking to each of these directions at some point earlier on in the game. Would have assisted him greatly, but right now, although his initial drops were good, his overall macro doesn't look great for Turbo, it's got to be said. Even with the fantastic bombs down here, he did not really deny a base being built, and now 6 engineers sent in. Very defensive from Tagada, I gotta say, to drop 6 engineers down here behind your base, not dropping to the top side. Well, perhaps this was a drop actually. Okay, maybe we did see a drop actually to the top side, because there is multiple transports, so there definitely were some drops to the top. Mainly here, I would guess, and perhaps 1 engineer here, although he could have walked as well. Another thing to note, a lot of labs. A lot of labs for Tagada, and they're not really coming out that quickly either, so it's a bit of a strange move, I gotta say. I mean, it's definitely on purpose. I would be shocked if he didn't notice he'd spammed 30 labs or whatever, but yeah, I'm sure this is on purpose. But I'm not really sure if it's a good idea. I mean, most of the labs are in the center of the map. Look at those little guys. There goes the transport as well. With 6 engineers, I presume. Yes. Turbo's map control on the top side looking good. Bottom side looking abysmal. Where's the transport to this corner? Okay, drop 6 engineers here. You can see 6k mass behind on total. 17,000 reclaim. Well, there's the difference, 22,500. That basically accounts for the majority of the difference here in total mass. No mechs upgrades either for Turbo, and none for Tagada. People really like to delay their mechs upgrades. Now the T2P gen goes up, that is the sign to me to start making, you know, some mass extractor upgrades, but he is spending all of his mass into basically T1 land stuff, producing all of these factories. These ones are all idle though. A lot of reclaim to be grabbed here. You can see there's a huge amount of APM needed to take everything. You can see this is needed. All this reclaim, all of these mexes and all this reclaim. And of course you gotta micro your tanks a little bit. You gotta make sure you're not taking terrible fights anywhere. And manage your teching. So Tagada is choosing the T3 land approach. I think you have to choose whether you're going to go for T3 air or you're going to go for T3 land first on this map. That's a major decision to be made, and Tagada is going for T3 land. Turbo does not even have T2 land at this point, so if he wants, it looks like by the number of P-gens he's creating and the fact that he has a T2 air HQ right next to him, this looks like T3 air for Turbo. It looks like that's his plan. We shall see how that works out for him versus T3 land. The top side looking decent, but I mean the very spread out units, that's an interesting group. Very organized, but also very, very lazy. And up here, I mean, this is a very solid army for Tagada. Running over the mountains, and yeah, looks a little dangerous for Turbo. Can he hold the top side that he took early on? Doesn't look like he's in a good position up there in terms of just how many units he has. You can see where the APM comes in. Random labs running in. They will die to tanks. Oh my, yeah, this tank has been farming labs by the looks of it. 6 kills, 250 mass killed. A lot of idle units here. Nice rating in the bottom right corner from Tagada. And I feel like his T3 land may be completed. Yes, it is. And of course, what other unit than the Titan is going to come out there? You need the speed on such a large map. And of course, you don't really want 1000 mass in a unit, in a single unit running around. That's not going to be efficient either. So there's really not even a decision to be made whether you make Titans or Percys on this map. It's all about the Titan. Percys can come later once there's a lot of T3 units out, or you need a strong force in one position. But for raiding, for killing T1 units, for getting across the map quickly, it's gotta be the Titan. And this is a really nice. Finally, some of the units woke up here that were chilling. It might have been these running over here, perhaps? We shall see. Well, we won't see. We'll have to guess. We'll never know now. But, yeah, very good kill. No PD in this position critically. It would have probably saved all these factories if there is a single PD here. But no. Still some labs being mixed in. Which is pretty funny. Look at that, he got 49 mass killed. So he did his job, gotta be said. Turbo survives this attack here, looks to be in a decent position, except for the fact that now Titan reinforcements from the main are dispatched north, and they will absolutely murder all of Turbo's crappy T1 units. And then they'll regen their shield, and then they'll get, you know, regen on their health from veterancy, and more health from veterancy, and it's not gonna go well. Meanwhile, Turbo, not even with a T3 P-gen yet, just started it at 13 minutes, so not the fastest rush of T3 air either. He's got a couple of T2 units. Is that, I was worried for a second he had his HQ all the way up there, in which case I would be really worried it wouldn't survive. He has T3 land, however. So reacting now to Tagada's T3 land, he is a long way behind in terms of T3 units. So we already have 9. Wow, a lot of mass building up. Where's the... Oh, he's reacting. Doesn't want to send the bombers, I guess, because he will bomb his own mechs. So instead he drops a very low HP. Well, via a low HP transport, he drops a Titan. And I expect he'll pick him back up and drop him somewhere precariously with only 68 HP. Bit risky, but I'm sure that we're going to see some mass extractor upgrades. I don't mind even a T3 mechs in the base, honestly. Or at least storages, because this mechs is going to be very safe. Some of these mechs on the outside can easily die to rogue bombers perhaps, gunships, titans. Bottom side looking scary now. A lot of units pouring through and there's actually nothing left to even kill. There was a mech here at some point, I believe. Never was there a mechs in this position. This one was killed. Looking scary. Does not look solid. There is a nice T3 support factory here with the commander. Commander is not in the safest spot. I would love some, you know, at least T2 in the ACU because it makes you so much less vulnerable to all kinds of attacks, which may prove fatal. But Tagada not making that. I really don't like a vanilla ACU outside the base at this point when there's T3 air coming. Just imagine. I think T3 air is up for Tagada as well, actually. Okay. And I think that totally vindicates his T3 land first approach. I think it has been vindicated so far, what we've seen. These units are not going to do too much. They're going to kill some engineers and things. They'll be a little bit annoying, but a single Titan will come out. Titan's coming back here to defend. ASF out for Turbo. How many Titans do we have for Turbo? Very nice attack on the top side. Nice rating. Mirroring much of what has happened on his bottom side, however, just a bit later. Now he finds some Titans and he's going to get melted. Actually, that's a lot of Titans. That's so many Titans that I'm fearful for this position. There's a very far forward T3 support factory. He may regret that. But look at this though. This control is actually fantastic. Needs to move in and kill some more factories. They're very useful to kill those. But I'm scared for this position. There's also no radar there. Big lack of radar in general for Turbo. Not a single T2 radar. And he's using Zox color. That is the greatest shame. The greatest of shames. I can't read the generated mass properly, but definitely looks like Turbo has very few upgraded mexes. In fact, he has a singular upgraded mechs. Tagada, no struggle for mass whatsoever. And he has a lot of mechs upgraded, mainly on the bottom side. Where did that strap bomber go? I believe it may have been locked. There goes the T2 mechs. A second one. And Turbo not close to defend his strap bomber. And now he's sending in 4 ASF versus 6 and Inties. So this is a total suicide of units, and he's going to lose the strap bomber after killing only 2 T2 mexes, and on top of that he's losing all of his ASF. Still sending in more ASF. This is a huge error. He's going to lose his spy plane, and that is very bad for him. This is fantastic though, gotta say. I mean, see the ouch. Okay, he's losing some units, but this reclaim is his. The top side has mainly been cleaned up though. Meanwhile, the bottom, there's more and more pressure being added on. This is not clean whatsoever. This is filthy. A lot of tanks pouring through. And on the front, looks like Turbo being pushed back. And Tagada does need to take more control here. This is right in the front of his base where he doesn't have control. Can't really have that going on. Finally, the T1 units are going to run out of gas, basically. Look at this, 28 kills on this Titan. He's just farming strikers. These Titans as well. The age of the T1 unit is fast coming to a close. I'm wondering though if Tagada can make use of his T3 air. A gunship or two can do massive damage, especially if he gets a gunship into this position. This poor legendary Titan is getting wasted slightly. His shield pops on and saves him though. And he runs away to regen his shield and his HP. 3 vets. Save this man. He deserves it. I'm sure Tagada, I'm gonna guess he has, wow, 42 Titans. He must have at least double, I will say, the Titans of Turbo. And he does, slightly more than double. I'm not too interested in the T1 unit count. I think that more than double the Titans tells you most of what you need to know. In terms of ASF, surely after Turbo suicided, his and is stalling so hard, he's not going to be close to what Tagada has. Well, Tagada has an opposite problem of a lack of power as he goes to work on his third T3 B-Gen. 14 ASF out for him, only 9 for Turbo. Turbo only making his second T3 P-Gen. It shows you how much mass they have available to them. 3 upgraded mexes. Turbo is falling very far behind at this point. Push comes in to this position with the T3 support factory. There's enough Titans, I think, to hold this. Tagada turns around. Actually, he shouldn't turn around. He has 5 more Titans to support him. Needs to send us forward. I think he is regrouping, and then he will push. And with the T1 unit support, I mean, I would have loved Lobos instead of all these strikers. At least some Lobos, but this base will not last. This base now going down with this T2 support factory. Nothing around to defend it. 6 Titans here. And what's to stop these Titans moving on and killing the rest of them with the air control that Tagada has? Oh, Turbo. It's not looking good for you, mate. Not looking good for Turbo at all. Now recycling his T2 power generators. Finishes his second T3. Recycling his T1 power generators as well, and he's going to try and get some more air production going. He's still behind, no doubt. And actually Turbo just calls GG there. I mean, hard to blame him when you see 10 T2 mexes. This position about to be completely overrun. No way to stop these Titans or these Titans. And this position, well, this also looks very bad. Outnumbered everywhere on the field and losing map control. No pressure here, no control here. 26 Titans versus 50. Yeah, very unsurprising. Ooh, look at that bomber production from Tagada. So Tagada brings it back to 2-1. Turbo, I think he just didn't want to tire himself out here trying in a game that is basically completely lost. I mean, there's potential. Maybe he could have gone for a snipe because, I mean, again, this ACU unupgraded in a forward position. No shields, no anti-air. Very... yeah, don't understand why you would take that risk. I mean, few strats come in and could be all over for you easily, but yeah, Turbo doesn't even go for the snipe, unfortunately. Decides not to tire himself out and moves on to game number 4 with still a 1 map advantage. Let's move on to map 4 now. Okay, here we are on map 4 of this semi-final between Tagada and Turbo2. And another mirror matchup, so many mirrors from these guys. We've seen Aeon, we've seen Seraphim already, we've seen UEF. And now we've Seraphim again. And I don't understand why you would necessarily choose Seraphim on this map over other factions. But this is what's happened. And they've both gone for it, which is slightly disappointing, slightly boring, slightly unusual in my eyes, but Am I wrong, or have we not seen Cybern in the series yet? Will be an interesting turn of events if I am correct, as I'm usually wrong. So let's see. The builds, very big difference already. Turbo's only finished his first mechs now. Tagada has 3 already, and he's making his 4th. As Turbo makes his 3rd, and yeah, a lot of tree reclaiming. A quick Celine, some tree groups broken. What a tragedy. We are using the FAF version of Setton's Clutch here, which means that the top player does not have to travel into the airbase to build his hydrocarbon. That's quite nice. Actually, is it the low... wait, who has the closer hydro? Is it north or south, generally? I've already forgotten. Let's see. Yeah, I think it's the north player, actually, that usually has it closer, right? On the regular Setton's version. Well, either way, let's just zoom out so we can see a bit more. Celine heading forward. Engineer down here heading towards the beach already. Turbo making use of the tree groups. And Tagada seems to be a little bit ahead. Almost identical hydrocarbon timings. Second factory though, faster for Tagada. 3rd air coming for Tagada as well. These 2 engineers that built the hydro are queuing up. Oh, look at all that manual reclaims. Just, that's pretty nice, but mainly they're expanding towards mass extractors. No factory to grab the tree reclaim, which is interesting. Not sure. Yeah, it's difficult to weigh up how worth it is to build a factory back here early on to take trees. Difficult to measure this kind of thing, and difficult to balance it without a pre-planned build. Let's see if Tagada is actually using this power. He is. Congratulations on using your power. Turbo, that ain't using your power. That is, and look at all his manual reclaim as well. See, this is the dark side of manual reclaim. Overflowing all that tree reclaim power into the abyss. And yeah. Goodbye, all of that power. Air factory only finished now. I'm sure Tagada has already got units out. He does, and he has made an inti. Surely he made a scout. There it is, actually, on the other side of the map already. Now he goes for a bomber. Turbo actually has... Oh, that's his 2nd air factory. I see. Yeah, I was thinking he just finished his air factory. There's no way he can have 2 air scouts on either side of Tagada's base. But of course, he's made 2 air factories, which answers all my questions before I even had them. I hear an anti-air firing, and it's just killed an air scout. I'll call that a success. Almost paid for itself already. Bomber begins moving to the same side as where there are 2 interceptors on patrol. It's a very long patrol order, so... But yeah, it seems unlikely that this bomber will get through. It's a small gap that it has to work with. Tagada and Turbo reach middle. Tagada starts reclaiming a bit sooner, and Turbo steps forward, immediately kills an engineer, kills a Celine, and then begins reclaiming. Okay, that's very strange. Okay, finally this patrol order totally failed, and Turbo has to resort to microing his intis to kill that bomber. Still so successfully avoids any and all damage to his rock expansion. Turbo already farming a couple of kills on his commander. Tagada with the units, but hasn't sent them forward, is basically just chilling with them. Not sure how good that is as an approach, but I guess we'll see. I mean, there's definitely potential damage. He could have killed perhaps engineers here. He had more tanks early on. These tanks have been around a long time, and they are gathering dust. I think we've seen that Tagada maybe be a bit slow in using his tanks, but I guess in this scenario he's building up a force to drive Turbo into the water. Didn't want to send tanks in earlier on to do damage to engineers and things and cause trouble. He more so wants to get Turbo out of middle into the water and then allow himself to take the remaining reclaim, which there is a significant amount still, although probably more than half of it has been taken already. Here we go. Turbo has no option but to retreat into the water away from these tanks, showing that Tagada has the superior build here basically in terms of getting tanks out. He has more mass, he has more power, he's just ahead. And now he has control of the reclaim field. Now retreating with the commander to get some reclaim. Maybe he could have stepped forward, put some pressure on, killed the factory, and instead he just walks back, takes some reclaim. There is one Salem wreck left which Turbo can easily take here, which is kind of sad for Tagada, but there's nothing much he can do about that now. Just has to focus on getting the rest of the T2 and the odd T3 wreck that's left here. This being an ASF, I believe. Nose dived into the ground. We got some kind of Titan or Loyalist there. A lot of Zooies, almost entirely Zooies for Turbo, and he's not microing them correctly, allowing them to die to the commander. And even some shots from the Thams getting in there. Not great. That's excellent veterancy for Tagada's ACU. 700 mass killed. Almost double what Turbo has killed with his commander. Ooh, a couple of naval factories already in the water, quite far forward. In a Seraphim matchup, that's a bit risky, because if some Zooies were perhaps diverted from middle and towards these naval factories, they would go down very quickly if there were no frigates in the area. Transport out for Turbo. He is busy with other projects and is not using the engineers he dropped just yet. Tagada dropping 5 engineers in the back base, and all in the one place is a bit unusual, but look how fast he actually gives all those orders. No hydrocarbon, excuse me. Also just single orders, just mexes, and no hydro. That is well, as Hercules once said, disappointed. Turbo's forgot about a mechs up here, but he's filling in all the gaps. He's still missing some bits on the beach base. The transport almost denied actually here by Turbo, but the 6 engineers drop, get a factory, get a PD down. He's afraid of losing this position. And in the middle though, still Tagada holds firm, has a superior position, superior force as well, and superior veterancy. Oh no, in fact he doesn't. He's actually fallen behind in terms of units killed, but he's way more HP on his commander. Turbo trading HP for units there in perhaps an inefficient manner, judging by how low his HP is and the fact that he has not yet reached his first level of veterancy. Heading to his island now, but clearly later than Tagada. I mean, looking at Tagada though, he's invested all of this into the island and yet has not got a single mechs on there. He's also going to build all the mechs with all the engineers, which is extremely inefficient. But again, it's a big map. There's a lot of things to do. You can't be giving individual orders all the time. I mean, you could, I guess, if you were a god, but Tagada is a mere mortal, unfortunately, like the rest of us. T2 air is up. T2 pigeon is up. Second T2 pigeon is going up soon. T1 land production paused in its entirety. And we only have 2 T2 mexes, 3, 4. That was the 4th one just finishing. We have some mexes upgrading in the back bases here. These 3 at least. So yeah, you can see the transition here. T1 land is just stopped utterly. The T2 land production is extremely limited, so it's kind of dangerous if Turbo... Well, look, Turbo's also gone for T2 air. You can see slower on his second P-gen at least. But he is maintaining his T1 production. And perhaps because of that is going to be ecoing less, I guess. He does have a very equal eco at this point. Is now adding naval factories on the bottom later, significantly later than Tagada. Tagada committing heavily to the bottom navy, recognizes that there's already navy in the top pond. It's going to be difficult to set up there. I mean, look, there's already 6 frigates. 6 frigates can make it really difficult to get your production going in the major spots. I mean, here you can get a torp defense and get some factories up, no doubt. But certainly more difficult if you are behind. So he decides to go heavily into the bottom pond. I think we're going to see T2 Navy relatively quickly. It may even already be queued. Let's take a look. Please replay. Show me the build queue. Oh, T2 flak, and they're just getting wasted. Oh, the commander under attack. He was taking his time making a T2 commander upgrade. He actually finished it and is then forced out of the pond. And that's why he sent the flak in as well. He was winning air, defending his air and defending his torpedo bombers and inties, using the flak, preventing an air fight, as it would have absolutely lost Turbo the air control completely. Speaking of losing air control, both players go basically AFK with their inties. Tagada stopped moving. Turbos are flying into no man's land. And then Tagada gives an assist order by accident. It's a calamity, and both players escape with many inties and attempt to forget all about what just happened for their own psychological well-being. Torpedo bombers coming in and killing, trying to kill some factories. Not a bad target, honestly. Killing some random frigates over here is not going to be very useful. And the ACU is safely on land, safe from all torpedo bombers. And he got T2 in the water before escaping to land, and now makes the gun very quickly. A lot of anti-air invested as well at the front line. That's expensive stuff. Tagada at the front with a couple of PDs. Only T2 on him at the moment. He's going to need more than 2 PDs. He decides to go for the shield now. That's an excellent move. Shields win firebase wars. Shield is the best thing, the best unit in a firebase. I don't think we will have firebase wars though. Oh, I was wrong. Turbo was not making the gun. I think I said he was making the gun. I at least thought he was making the gun. He's making TML ACU, and that's one reason for sure to pick Seraphim. That's some air loss. There was some gunships sent in this direction, and yeah, there is one. You can't spot you can't say everything you spot, I guess, but after the fact I can tell you what I've seen if it's relevant. And yeah, so I guess Tagada is preparing a base here to defend against the ACU. The ACU is just walking into the water slightly, avoiding any TMD that might go up from this ACU. And here comes... Okay, there's TMD in the base. One PGen died. That is all, though. And now 3 TMD are up. Redundancy is good. And I don't think we're going to see any T2... Oh my god. There's no way. this Zooey has just run through here and killed multiple mexes on its own. 4 kills, 160. It's also killed an engineer, I guess, along the way, or maybe 2. Pretty good stuff there from a single. That's for a single Zooey. That's a lot of air scouts in the base. We got some bombers. Where's T2 Navy? There it is. That's a destroyer first from Tagada. I would have expected him to go straight for cruisers, honestly, given the number of frigates he invested. 15 frigates. He's got well, he's got to take out this torp defense and this production. He's also got to maybe keep some frigates in this area, keep an eye on this area so more production doesn't get created. But yeah, I guess it's totally fair to make a destroyer safety first, you know. The ACUTML has not paid off whatsoever. I mean, killing one T2 Pigeon, that's well, we'll say minor. And now he's retreated already, so, and he actually has one in the clip as well, so here comes a drop. We have a couple of T1 bombers standing by, ready. There's 4 pigeons here at the front, which could be under threat. Torpedo bombers coming out from Turbo. A lot of, yeah, this is drop protection, all these PDs. That's what those are. I think it was the gunships here. Yeah, a couple of dead gunships doing a little bit of raiding. Oh, the Zooey's doing a lot, killing a lot of frigates as they're only on attack move. Turbo changes his mind about where he wants to go and drops to the rock base. He's gonna have to move, otherwise the Lobos will, or the Phobos will target him. Oh, the 2 transports fly past each other, and this one unfortunately meets a cruiser, which immediately gets 17 kills. Kills the units in the transport first, then kills the transport, making sure it gets all the vets. That's the power of flak right there. Meanwhile, Tagada's drop looks far more deadly with multiple T2 units on board and a lot of Zooeys. Now, unfortunately, he didn't bring any flak. If he had brought a couple of flak, this would have been an incredible drop, maybe even a Celine, so he has some scouting. Transport goes down on the way out. There's some out of fuel inties here as well that need to be fixed, but oh, and just at this moment there will be no T2 air units coming out, no gunships or even Nautilus to deal with this, or even T1 bombers coming out of that factory very quickly to deal with it, because he's on the way to T3 air. So this turns out to be a brutal time. This mix is about 90%, and this one is also, and this one is definitely going down. Oh, and there's multiple T2 mexes here to be killed as well. The timing of this couldn't be worse, really. No units available to defend, and T2 Navy on the bottom side. This looks extremely good for Tagada. This drop is fantastic. He's actually missing out on this T2 mex, but these units doing amazing work. There goes the T2 mex, and you'll see that the reclaim is going to take damage as well. It all counts. Finally, bombers and gunships able to come out of the T3 air factory now. And there's no TMD just yet, but a shield gives him some time, maybe enough time. Although, if he's stalling, he's not stalling, he just needs a bit more build power. This shield might buy him enough time here to save these pigeons. He absolutely needs them because his T3 pigeon is not ready yet. That engineer is on a bad trip into an irrelevant position. And where is he going to build this? Because there's going to be a lot more cruisers coming. There's 2 TMD up, 3 TMD up. The missiles are hitting, but they're actually not all targeting the same pigeon, which is a mistake. Oh my god, so close. That was very close, very close. Now he moves away, realizing that he's not getting through, I guess. Although maybe he could have. There's a chance. Actually, if he targeted all of them on the front one, or maybe actually he needed to target the shield gen. If he had targeted the shield gen, he could have taken it down. Now with the shield back up and TMD constructed, he's not going to get through. even killing the land factory over here. You can see the T1 bombers have dealt with a lot of things. This T2 mech did not go down. This T2 mech was also saved. And this T2 mech, so actually could have gone worse this drop, but guess what? Let's just drop some more things, because how are you going to defend against this when there are cruisers in the area to kill all of your air if you try to move in this direction? And it looks like the drops will never end at this point. T2 Navy, finally from Turbo in the top pond. This time a flak is brought along. PD goes down immediately. This T2 mechs, which had survived, will now die, and there's not going to be anything left. It's going to get absolutely vaporized because the cruisers are also on this like a bad rash. It's gone, it's gone. Front mechs is also going to die. Oh, this drop was actually denied. Drop here with there was a flak there, 2 Ilshis and a lot of Zuis, I assume, was actually killed. We can see the remnants of some air that died to the cruisers as well, though. Cruisers now focusing on this mechs. The T3 PGen is up. There's no T3 air production just yet, though. Where is the HQ? Here it is for Tagada. Will he make a new one at the back? He's already done that, in fact. And I quite like that move. Oh, okay. Speaking of moves I like, Turbo has entered Tagada's airspace in a transport. There goes one shot. And he's landed, and he's got T3 on his ACU, and he has TML, as he already had a long time ago. Begin firing. He needs to build some stuff immediately. He's launching missiles, but he's not building shields, he's not building factories, he's not building SAMs, most critically. Turbo, I think, has caught on to Tagada has realized what's happening. 2 mexes are down. A third one gonna go down. Let's see how the drop did in the back. Oh, we do have a second T3 air HQ. Oh my god, that's expensive. That's expensive. Why did he make 2 T3 air HQs? T3 air flying over Turbo's head, and he's not making anything. Now he's making flak. That's something. Flak arrives just in time to... Oh, what a veterancy donation there. The flak is unfortunately targeting the transport, which is fairly useless. And, I mean, yeah, Nathas. Here come the Nathas. Turbo's running for the water. That's where you'll have to go. Unfortunately, you can't get a shield on the water. There's now going to be a lot of Zuis, I'm sure. If he needs to queue up some Zuis in this factory, and the Zuis will end his life. He's actually dropping Zuis here. The flak did 150 damage to all of the Zuis, but none of them died. PD goes up, but that's not gonna last more than a few seconds. And that's a lot of Ilshis, putting out a lot of damage on the ACU that is not yet underwater. Another missile flies, but where does it fly to? I actually don't see the missile. I think he fired short range, or perhaps he hit some air units. Fortunately, I missed that. He needs to get into this portion of the water where at least he'll be away from the Ilshis, but then he will just get torpedoed. At this moment, he can get torpedoed and knotted, which is the worst of both worlds. Needless to say, and there really is no hope, is there, for this? He wasted so much time when he could have been building things. He also, though, just dropped in a location where he can't... Oh, the air fight. Who cares with the air fight? Turbo just died. Why the fuck? Do you have 300 drop? Already going to ACU. Well, I think Tagada was just planning on constantly dropping to the rock base. which is fair enough. That's a lot of cruisers, and by the way, you can see that the cruisers did not get through. Just to note that. I think maybe there's a chance he could start getting through. He could maybe target the T3 land, but clearly focused elsewhere. Turbo confused about the amount of drops that just landed next to his ACU. I think it really didn't matter. All Tagada even had to do was turn on these factories, make Zuis, and send them in this direction. Real question is why Tagada or why Turbo dropped here, didn't build anything. I mean, even if I look in this base, what you need to defend against a comm drop is build power. I mean, could you drop in this base? I mean, you could. I mean, imagine this is the location where you drop, surely. Because here, you're far from the enemy production, you kill the T3 air production and 2 P-gens, and you get mexes, reclaim loads of time to build. And you're also nowhere near the Navy on the far side. Maybe, you know, if he could reach here, maybe there's a chance. He just needs to be able to kill the T3 engineer so there's not like loads of T2PDs immediately. He can bring Zuis on his transport with the commander, so maybe that's what was necessary. Dropping here, I don't see how this ever works. And especially if you stand there launching missiles and you just don't even build anything for about 30 seconds, and you're definitely absolutely doomed. But respect the effort, respect the idea of T3 comm dropping in the semi-final of a major tournament. I wholeheartedly support it. It's actually how I won the only game I won against Nexus in in Legend of the Stars 2019, I think. In the 3rd place playoff, T3 comm drop on pizza. So, you know, it can work. Anyway, then, well played. I'm gonna cast the final game in its own video. So that's it for this one. It's best of 5 and we have 1 map to go. Both players on 2 maps apiece. Tagada coming back from a 0-2 deficit. Can he complete the reverse sweep? Tune in very soon for the final game of this series, and then after that the 3rd place game, and of course the final. So thank you all for watching. Click all the links and all that, and yeah, see you next time. Have a good one.